let's take a look at the Arizona Cardinals 2022 NFL Draft recap here. Now for them, their first-round pick, plain and simple, really easy here, trading for Marquise Brown. Now, obviously, with the news of Deandre Hopkins being, suspended for 6 games, this was a move that they made knowing that was coming. So Hollywood Brown, at least when you lose D-Hop, you have a legitimate guy that already has chemistry here with Kyler Murray. I'd say that this is a pretty good first-round pick here for the Cardinals in the 2022 NFL Draft.
Yeah, I think that one works out pretty well because, honestly, like I said, you lose Christian Kirk also during free agency. You needed someone who can kind of right the ship and kind of be that number one on this thing, especially with DeAndre Hopkins out, because there are questions about him. Did not play well last year, despite having a fantastic first year with him after they traded for him for David Johnson. Like I said, injuries kind of took his toll on him, and then Kyler Murray didn't play as well when you have DeAndre Hopkins on the field. I know, shocker. No one would have seen that coming when you don't have DeAndre Hopkins on the field. The quarterback doesn't play well, but Kyler was also banged up too. Yeah. He's been dealing with some shoulder injuries and also ankle injuries these past couple of years, so hopefully he stays healthy because I know he wants that because he's trying to secure the bag also. He needs that contract, so you bring in Marquise Brown, a guy that he knew out of Oklahoma State. He also had a fantastic season that final year they were together. I love the move, and it turned out to be an extremely needed move as well. And they weren't done bringing in pass catchers too, because with their first pick in the second round, you bring in the tight end one of this class with Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State. So despite re-signing, Zach Ertz to a 3-year deal, you also have Max Williams on this team. You bring in Trey McBride, and I think from day one, I would not be surprised they start moving him as a more of a big slot kind of guy, because that kind of allows him to learn the passing situations more so while he's learning the run blocking kind of technique at the exact same time. He's a guy you want to use in the red zone. He can also be used kind of all over the field. So I would not be surprised, especially until DeAndre Hopkins comes back, to see a little bit more 12 personnel on this team. And eventually, Trey McBride will be the number one tight end option. But for right now, he's still probably going to be behind Zach Ertz, who's going to have to put on a show in those first 6 weeks trying to keep up for DeAndre Hopkins, especially inside the red zone.
Well, it's hard to replace a guy in Chandler Jones as well. So they go out and they add, obviously, Cameron Thomas, defensive end, edge rusher out of San Diego State. Then they go and they add Myjai Sanders, edge rusher out of Cincinnati. I mean, played on a very talented Cincinnati defense. I had Sauce Gardner.
Absolutely.
Kobe Bryant, they had a multitude of guys, and obviously they were able to make it to the college football playoffs in 2021 here. For Myjai Sanders, the expectations for him coming in are going to be very high, opposite of J.J. Watt this upcoming season as well. What were your thoughts on this pickup for them?
I think it was interesting. Like I said, it was a guy that they needed. The question, what's Sanders going to, is it going to be a stand-up guy? Is it going to be coming off the line? Like, I think he can do kind of both ways once we have his hand in the dirt or not. Like I said, they just need to be able to generate pressure, especially in this division. You've got to get after the quarterbacks. Look, the day 2, day 3 edge rushers, this is kind of one of the sweet spots of the draft. And I think they got to go in Myjai Sanders. Like, he didn't necessarily always go against the highest level of competition play. Look, Cincinnati is not playing in the SEC despite having a fantastic season. The level of competition was not quite as high. I like this move. We'll see what happens between him and with Cameron Thomas, who ends up kind of showing out. I think Cameron Thomas is going to win that job. And you see Myjai Sanders being more of a depth addition, which is not a bad thing, especially with J.J. Watt. If you need to sub him in and out, I think Myjai Sanders probably comes in, gives J.J. Watt a couple breathers every once in a while. So I like this book kind of going both ways. Like I said, you're not replacing a Chandler Jones. There's no Chandler Jones you're getting with one of these picks. He's not going to have that impact he had in week 1, that's for sure, with those 5 sacks. But I said I still like the addition at pick 100. Myjai Sanders, add a little bit of depth. I like that one. And also in round 6, bring in Kyante Ingram. This is a really interesting one. A guy who didn't really do that much when he was at Texas, looked a lot better when he went to USC. They needed someone with some size. Benjamin doesn't bring that. He's more of a traditional like passing down kind of style back at 6 foot, 221 pounds. I think Kyante Ingram, fantastic pick.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing that I took away from Steve Keim as well during the NFL draft, one thing he said, he told J.J. Watt that both, Cameron Thomas and Myjai Sanders are going to be following him around like puppies, like little puppies.
Wouldn't you? I mean, if you're coming in the draft, and if I can learn from J.J. Watt, yeah, I'm learning from J.J. Watt.
He embraced
maybe not the ice lake thing, but everything else.
He definitely made the ice lake. That dude is an absolute machine there. But the Arizona Cardinals, I think for the most part, I know that there were some Cardinals beat reporters that were really mad at first with what the Cardinals decided to do, especially like trading the first round pick for Hollywood Brown. But look, hey, this has all the potential.
It makes a ton of more sense.
Be a very, very impactful move. Like, for example, with DeAndre Hopkins is out, they can go 13 personnel a lot if they want to. 1 back, 3 tight ends. They can split out a guy like Trey McBride in the slot, as you mentioned, like that big slot role. Maybe you can have a guy in line, Zach Ertz somewhere else, and then you're going to have Hollywood Brown out there doing some other stuff as well. The Cardinals have a lot of flexibility, and Cliff Kingsbury has all the room in the world right now to kind of move around and play around with some different lineups. in different situations.
Especially just
will
hoping he
make it
finds a
hard.
better way to use Rondale Moore. That's one of the biggest things here.
Can we please
if
have that
Rondale Moore
happen,
takes
Cliff?
that step forward, I think that would be a massive step forward, honestly, for this offense, and also keep AJ Green healthy. You still have plenty of playmakers to lose DeAndre Hopkins and still be a very high-level offense. You just lost a little bit of upside without him on there on the field, and every other team would say the exact same thing without DeAndre Hopkins. You're not quite as explosive, but you have enough playmakers on this team to do something. And look, even if Antoine Wesley, a guy they were very high on last year when he could take a step forward when you're dealing with some injury, you still have him as a death piece as well, too. So I think the Arizona Cardinals, they'll be just fine even without DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, what did you think about the 2022 NFL Draft? Let us know down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure you smash that subscribe or that like button for daily NFL news content coverage here at Pro Football Network.